All right, so we're going to start with chapter 1. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you watch these videos as much as you need to, practice as much as you need to, because chapters 1 and 2 are really going to be the foundation to this entire course. And we're going to take our time and work through them slowly and just do section by section. But you need to make sure that you're practicing and you fully understand, and you're letting me know if you have any questions. Okay? So here are our objectives. This is for the entire chapter, what we're going to be able to do. You can go back and read those later if you'd like. So when we talk about accounting, there are different categories that we need to be aware of. Okay, and 3 of those categories are assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. And those categories are the way that we classify different things that go on in a business or different things that we have in a business. Okay? So the first one we're going to talk about are assets. These are properties and other things of value owned and controlled by an economic unit or business entity. Okay, and what we mean by business entity is this is something that stands alone. The owner of the company, the assets that are in the owner's company belong to the company, not the owner himself. Okay? And these include things such as cash, equipment, copyright, building, and land. One of the other categories that we need to look at is what's called owner's equity. Okay? And this is the owner's claim or their financial interest in the company. You will also hear this mainly referred to as capital. Okay, so the owner's equity is the capital in the company. So basically, you have the assets, which are properties or things of value owned by the business. And then you have the owner's right to those assets. And you can see that they sit on what we call opposite sides of the accounting equation. We're going to start building the equation here. Okay? So your assets are always equal to your owner's equity. Okay? So here's our first example. The total value of the assets in a business is $80,000. The business entity does not owe any amount against the assets. That means they don't owe anybody any money or anything. Okay? So what is the owner's equity? So if we know that there's $80,000, new with my pen here, of assets, and there's no other liabilities that we owe, there's $80,000 of owner's equity. Now this is a perfect world where everything you have in the company is yours, you have the rights to it, and you don't owe anybody anything. Okay? But that's not how things really work. Okay? So along comes debt. And we're going to call these liabilities. So you can't run a business unless you're borrowing money, unless you have an unlimited supply of money, and people really don't, okay? So that's why they get into debt and they have liabilities, okay? And the goal is that your assets will equal your liabilities and owner's equity. You have to keep it in balance. Otherwise, you're not making money, all right? And so liabilities come about when you buy things on credit or you get services on credit, borrow money, or any other things, okay? This is important. These liabilities, these creditors' claims, they have priority over the claims of the owner. Okay, so let's take a look at what that means. So an entity's assets consist of a truck that costs $35,000. The owner has invested $12,000 of their own money, and the business entity has borrowed $23,000. Okay, so the assets include a truck that is $35,000. All right. The owner has invested. That means the owner has put his own money in of $12,000. So here is his $12,000 investment. And he's going to owe his creditors $23,000, the liabilities. So as you can see, your assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity, because $23,000, and $12,000 equals $35,000. So if this company decided to go out of business today, what would happen is these assets, they would have to pay $23,000 of what they owe, and they could walk away today with this $12,000. That's really how much the owner has available to him to walk away with. Okay? So what you see right here is called our fundamental accounting equation. So the accounting equation is assets equals liabilities plus owner's, oh, I spelled that wrong, equity. And this is going to be the basis of everything we do in this course. So you need to memorize this. Assets equal liability plus owner's equity. And you could think of it as ALLO. Okay? Oh, again, I'm new with this technology. It's really neat, but I'm trying to figure it out. All right. So, using the accounting equation, let's figure out some stuff. All right? So, Millie Adair has $17,000. Millie Adair has $17,000 invested in her travel agency. The agency owes its creditors $5,000. That is, the agency has liabilities of $5,000. That's what it means. When you owe your creditor, that means it's a liability. So what is the amount of her assets? All right, so we begin by writing the equation. Assets equals liabilities plus, I'm going to write OE for owner's equity. All right, so we know that she's invested. So when we see invested, that means owner's equity. She's invested $17,000. Okay. She owes her creditors $5,000. So that would be her liabilities. All right, and now we need to balance this equation. Okay. Well, we know assets need to equal liabilities plus owner's equity. $17,000 plus $5,000 is equal to $22,000. So that means she has $22,000 in assets. So if she were to close her business today, she could walk away with $17,000. That's her claim to the business. All right, now let's take a look at another one. Let's determine the owner's equity. Larry Rowland owns a car repair shop. His business has assets of $40,000 and owes his creditors $16,000. Remember, creditors means liabilities. All right, so we're going to write our equation. Assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. All right, so we're looking for owner's equity. We know that there is $40,000 in assets, and he owes his creditors $16,000. So how much do we have in owner's equity? This is what we're looking for. All right, so for this one, you're going to have to do a little thinking of your basic algebra skills, right? So in order to figure out owner's equity, we have to isolate this. All right, so to get rid of this liabilities, we're going to subtract it out. And when we subtract it, we get $24,000, right? So now we can say assets of $40,000 equals liabilities of $16,000 plus the $24,000 in owner's equity. And hopefully I did that math right. All right, moving on. Determining liabilities. Okay, so very similar. They're going to be on the same side. We're going to have to find something on the same side of the equation, all right? So Theo's insurance agency has assets of $86,000. His investment, remember, investment means owner's equity. You're going to start hearing things, and you're going to start hearing me say things like investment means owner's equity, creditor means liabilities. These are things that when you start to hear these buzzwords, they should trigger things in your brain, okay? So his investment is in the amount of $46,000. What is the amount of the agency's liabilities? So assets, I'm going to start abbreviating here, equals liabilities plus owner's equity, all right? So we know assets are $86,000. We're looking for liabilities. We know his owner's equity, his investment, is $46,000. Okay, so to figure it out, we're just going to subtract, remember? Our basic algebra skills. And we find that the liabilities are equal to 40,000. So we can rewrite the equation. 40,000 equals, oh, I'm sorry about that. That's my mistake. The original asset, 86,000 equals liabilities of 40,000 plus owner's equity of 46,000. So that's your basic accounting equation and some practice with having to balance it.